Hey everyone, Vlad here, sitting on the patio outside. It's getting a lot warmer in Canada right now, where I am, sitting on the patio, reading this edition of The Art of War. Really good book, really good book. Sun Tzu, lots of lessons in here that are worth revisiting. It's not my first time going through this book. It's not my first time, you know, studying um, Eastern philosophy in general. I just think there's so much gem in it, and yeah, one thing about the knowledge that I've gotten from books is that it's one of the things that has made me very secure within myself as a person. I have my insecurities here and there, but they're the kind of things you can sort of like poke fun at, you know what I mean, and sort of like laugh at, if you know what I'm saying. But I'm not someone who's driven by, or even motivated due to crippling anxiety or insecurity about how I'm perceived or what the world thinks of me. And I'll tell you why. The reason being that the majority of people that you encounter out here in the world are actually insecure. They're insecure about their appearance. They're insecure about what people think about them. They're afraid of being judged. They get embarrassed very easily, you know what I mean? They put so much effort and energy, you know, into being perceived a certain way that anything that could somewhat threaten that vision that they have of themselves, man, you'll see them react sometimes even violently. If not physically, hopefully not physically, you should stay away from people like that, but emotionally or mentally, even spiritually, they'll flip it on you. They'll twist it on you. I remember a couple of years ago, I had this old friend of mine who I had this story on Instagram where I'm just vibing, enjoying my time and whatnot, and I'm listening to some old school R&B. You know what I mean? I say old school, I was born in the 90s. So to me, old school R&B is like, 90s, early 2000s stuff. And that guy commented on my story and he was like, man, I'd be embarrassed if I was you. I was like, why? And he was like, girls are going to look at you, see what you're listening to, and they just won't respect you. People are just going to know that you're just soft. I remember being like, come on, man. At what point, I know we live in the post red pill internet, but at some point you're telling me that even in 2026, or at the time it was a little earlier, it was around the pandemic, so 2020 or something, you're telling me that we got to a point where you can't even listen to Boys to Men anymore, reminisce about like the good old days and all that stuff? That's crazy to me. And I responded to him, I'm like, you know what, maybe you should sit down and listen to some R&B music and face whatever it is that makes you so insecure. Or I didn't use the word insecure, or face whatever demon you're facing, because it will probably help you heal. Needless to say, for that and many other reasons, that guy and I are not friends anymore. But you see, again, to bring it back to my first point, the majority of people that you meet tend to have insecurities about themselves, how they're perceived, about how the world perceives them. They play into a certain image and they depend on that image being validated by the world. Otherwise, they feel like they feel like a loss of control of a narrative, predominantly the narrative that they have about themselves. People like that, they tend to not think very highly of themselves, not just at the basic level of like, they wake up in the morning and they love who they are, they love what they see, they love where life has taken them, the journey and everything. And people like that, they will never ever have a high opinion on you because they don't even have a high opinion of themselves. And it's such a waste of your time and energy trying to please people who can't even please themselves. Did you hear the logic in that? Exactly, because there's none, right? This is the society we live in. I remember a couple years ago, I was attending the Critics' Choice Awards where, um, Brendan Fraser. If you guys, the youngins who don't know, Brendan Fraser at the time was the guy. The Mummy movies, George of the Jungle. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And obviously, some people, for those who don't know the story, after the 90s and the early 2000s, Brendan Fraser went through a lot of bad things: divorce, weight gain, depression, lots of things. And there was a campaign for a while to bring back Brendan Fraser because he had such a positive impact on our childhood. People were like, "Where's this guy? Where's Brendan Fraser?" And sure enough, they found him again, and he saw the comments. And decades later, you know what I mean, he used that motivation, the love that the fans had for him, to come back and properly, you know, he took care of himself, and now he's back in Hollywood and he's making a new Mummy movie. I mean, it's crazy. And I was there in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, where he won his Critics' Choice Award for The Whale, which was a fantastic movie, by the way. And he was so excellent in that. And for the most part, it was a regular ceremony. He went on stage, he got on stage, made his speech, was very emotional, thought about all the things that led him to where he's at today. And that's the part that blew me away. As he was on stage, I was looking at my phone and I saw a tweet, because the Critics' Choice Awards are televised live. They happen live and people can tune in, I believe, on the CW network, or on E now. It used to be on the CW, now it's on E. And I'm looking at my phone, and on Twitter, at the time it was still called Twitter, somebody's going viral talking about, look at Brendan Fraser going on stage, sounding like a Make-A-Wish Foundation kid. I hate this guy. And the guy had successfully gone viral for tweeting this, right? For sending this. He had gone viral for properly insulting somebody that he personally looks down upon. And that was probably a genuine moment of success in his life. And the comments were like, yeah, I hate him too. Yeah, look at his face. Nah, 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 nah. But as I'm reading this, I'm also in the room, sitting I believe next to me was Seth Rogen, Anya Taylor-Joy, Harrison Ford was there. Who else was there that day? James Marsden. We're just sitting there and we're watching this thing happening, and we're experiencing this true moment of awe, this moments of of glory of a guy who had to pretty much, it's so hard to make it in Hollywood, but it's so hard to make it twice. Like when you've had a downfall and you have to climb that up again, and yeah, you've done it before. It's probably, you have the contacts and everything, you know what I mean? But that business in general, movie business, it's unforgivable. It's so cutthroat. When they're done with you, they're done with you. Doesn't matter what the reasons are, Even worse, if you got canceled, if you got out of shape, unless you're a Russell Crowe type of actor who's like, you got Academy Awards under your belt and stuff like that. And even if, and let me not even talk about like how Hollywood treats women who age past a certain point. It's horrible what happens there, right? But that day it taught me something. It taught me that, in experiencing this moment of pure joy and happiness and this successful comeback story, and witnessing this hate and these hateful, judgmental comments that someone was making at the guy at the same time, it sort of like gave me I feel like it gave me an opportunity to see society from like a bird eye view. As some of you who knows me, who follow me for a while, despite the stuff that I do in LA and all that stuff and around the world, I still very much am a guy who comes back to a small town and just enjoys life over there, right? I'm not in the mix, but feel free to follow me on Just Ask Vlad on Instagram to find evidence of what I'm talking about, because anyone can go online and say whatever they want, right? So there's receipts. But that being said, it taught me something. It taught me that there's no reason to go out here and pursue this thing that is, getting society to approve of you. The people who are determined to judge you, to misjudge you specifically, or to look down on you, or to be embarrassed by how you look, how you talk, they will do so regardless. You won't be able to stop them. They'll laugh at your socks, the way you laugh, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you dress, your accent, whatever it is, your appearance. It doesn't matter, man. It genuinely doesn't matter, because the happy people who genuinely want to see you do well, who genuinely enjoy who you are, who won't spend too much time trying to, like, you know, analyze you to figure out like where your shortcomings are and how they can point fingers at you. Those people, when they find you, you'll feel so much peace that you'll realize there's no reason to go out here and look for anything else. Anyway, that's just my rant for today. Hopefully there will be more. I'm back on this channel. I'm posting again on this channel again. It's been a couple years. I've grown a lot since the last videos. You guys are going to be able to see that for yourself. I won't delete the past videos that I did back in the days, because I just feel like it's important for people to, especially if they follow you, if you attract a following by via certain ways. I think it's important for people to see your evolution, so that if they follow you for some knowledge or for some advice, they can see that you yourself are someone who evolves and grows through time. So they can trust that by following you, they will also evolve and grow through time. So I hope if you find this channel, I hope if you find this video, I hope that it helps. I'll try to post more often. Again, my name is Vlad, and you can find me anywhere, especially on Instagram at just as Vlad. Talk soon.